At the twilight of the Roman Empire, when borders were constantly under threat and internal stability was an ongoing challenge, a leader emerged whose mind was as sharp as his sword. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, faced one of the most turbulent periods in Roman history, marked by the intense Marcomannic Wars. But what makes Marcus Aurelius a unique figure in history is not just his military prowess, but how he balanced the responsibilities of a relentless commander with the deep philosophical reflections that still resonate today. As he led the Roman legions against barbarian incursions along the Danube, Marcus Aurelius wrote his Meditations, a collection of thoughts offering insights into duty, leadership, and resilience. How did he manage to maintain his clarity of thought and commitment to philosophy amid the chaos of battle? And how did his reflections influence his decisions on the battlefield, shaping the fate of the empire? In this video, we'll dive into the fascinating duality of Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who was both a warrior and a philosopher. We'll explore how he managed the pressures of leading Rome in wartime while simultaneously seeking answers to life's deeper questions. Get ready to discover the military and philosophical legacy of a man who embodied the struggle between action and contemplation, leaving a lasting impact both on the battlefield and in the annals of history. The barbarian threat, the beginning of the Marcomannic Wars. At the end of the 2nd century AD, the Roman Empire faced one of its greatest external crises, the threat from the barbarian tribes to the north. The fragile peace that Rome had maintained for decades was starting to unravel, especially along the borders near the Danube River. The Marcomannic tribes, along with other Germanic confederations, began pressing against the empire's frontiers, threatening the stability Rome held so dear. Emperor Marcus Aurelius realized that decisive action was needed to protect his empire from a large-scale invasion. The Marcomannic Wars, which unfolded between 166 and 180 AD, were a prolonged and brutal conflict. Despite his personal aversion to war, Marcus Aurelius understood the need to combat these invaders to preserve the empire's integrity. The tensions were further exacerbated by internal issues, such as the Antonine Plague, which devastated the Roman population, weakening both morale and military defenses. The emperor knew he was facing a monumental challenge that would require not just military skill, but exceptional leadership. The beginning of the Marcomannic Wars marked a turning point in Marcus Aurelius' life. As a leader, he had to balance his Stoic philosophy with the pragmatic demands of total war. The early campaigns were marked by fierce clashes, where Roman military superiority was tested by the unpredictable tactics of the barbarians. Marcus Aurelius proved to be a resilient leader, commanding his troops directly on the battlefield, which was unusual for an emperor. As the Roman legions fought to repel the invaders, Marcus Aurelius also faced logistical and political challenges. The war demanded enormous resources, both in terms of finances and manpower. To sustain the military effort, the emperor implemented measures that included increasing taxes and recruiting new soldiers, even freeing slaves to serve in the army. These actions, though necessary, generated discontent among the population, adding another layer of complexity to his reign. Marcus Aurelius knew that victory would not be achieved solely through military might. He sought inspiration from his Stoic philosophy, which taught him to accept fate with serenity and to act with wisdom, even in times of crisis. This mindset was crucial for maintaining the cohesion of his troops and his own determination, even when prospects seemed grim. The barbarian threat required a response that was both military and philosophical, and Marcus Aurelius was prepared to offer both. By the end of this initial phase of the war, Marcus Aurelius emerged not just as an effective military commander, but also as a spiritual leader for his soldiers. His ability to balance the toughness needed for war with the compassion and wisdom of a philosopher cemented his reputation as one of Rome's great emperors. The Marcomannic Wars were only just beginning, but Marcus Aurelius had already shown that, even amidst chaos, it was possible to find a measure of order and clarity. Strategy and leadership. Commander Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius wasn't just a philosopher. He was also a highly insightful military strategist. Despite his personal reluctance to engage in warfare, he understood that defending the empire was his highest responsibility as emperor. During the Marcomannic Wars, Marcus Aurelius demonstrated impressive skills in leadership and military organization, attributes that would be tested repeatedly as the conflict dragged on for years. One of the keys to Marcus Aurelius' military success was his ability to adapt traditional Roman tactics to the changing circumstances of the battlefield. Confronted with the mobility and unpredictability of the barbarian tribes, he implemented strategies that combined the discipline and strength of the Roman legions with new guerrilla tactics and mobile defense. Under his leadership, the legions built temporary fortifications and utilized the terrain to their advantage, which was crucial in holding back the barbarian invasions. Marcus Aurelius' leadership was characterized by a deep connection with his troops. Unlike many leaders who commanded from a distance, Marcus Aurelius was frequently present on the battlefield, sharing the hardships and dangers with his soldiers. This proximity not only boosted the morale of the troops, but also gave him a direct understanding of combat conditions, allowing him to make more informed and strategic decisions. His soldiers respected him not just as an emperor, but as a leader who shared their struggles. Furthermore, Marcus Aurelius had a clear vision of the role of discipline and morale in his armed forces. He believed that a disciplined army was key to victory, but also recognized the importance of maintaining high morale. To achieve this, he used not only material rewards like salaries and land, but also spiritual and philosophical encouragement. He imparted Stoic principles to his soldiers, urging them to find strength and courage in adversity, to fear death less, and to fight for the greater good of the empire. The Marcomannic campaigns also revealed Marcus Aurelius' pragmatic side as a leader. When necessary, he knew how to negotiate peace and seek alliances, showing that, despite his firmness, he was willing to concede certain points to preserve the integrity of the empire. At times, he preferred diplomacy over brute force, using bribes, treaties, and other forms of negotiation to keep the barbarian tribes in check. This strategic flexibility was vital for Roman success in a period of limited resources. Finally, Marcus Aurelius' leadership was marked by his ability to maintain control and organization of the army even under the pressures of prolonged war. He meticulously oversaw logistics, ensuring that the legions were well supplied and reinforcements arrived on time. His ability to keep the army functional and cohesive, even amid losses and temporary defeats, ensured that Rome remained resilient in the face of barbarian threats. Meditating amidst the chaos, the emperor's reflections. As he faced the harsh realities of the Marcomannic Wars, Marcus Aurelius found refuge in philosophy. During the military campaigns, he wrote the Meditations, a series of personal thoughts not meant for public consumption, but now considered one of the most important works of Stoic philosophy. These reflections reveal how Marcus Aurelius sought to maintain his inner peace and sense of purpose amidst the chaos of war. The Meditations are a window into the mind of a man who, despite his power and responsibility, saw himself as a mere mortal, subject to the same weaknesses and doubts as anyone else. Marcus Aurelius used these writings as a form of self-examination, a way to remind himself of the Stoic principles that guided his life. He strived to practice virtue, wisdom, and temperance, even when the circumstances around him were chaotic and unpredictable. During the long campaigns, the solitude of command often pushed Marcus Aurelius to turn even more to his philosophical reflections. The war, with all its uncertainties and brutalities, tested his deepest beliefs. He meditated on the transience of life, the inevitability of death, and the need to act according to reason, even when the world around him seemed to be falling apart. These thoughts not only gave him strength, but also shaped how he governed and conducted the war. Marcus Aurelius saw philosophy as a weapon as powerful as the sword. For him, the true battle was not just against external enemies, but against internal passions that could divert a leader from his path. He believed that control over one's own mind was essential for leading with justice and wisdom. Thus, his meditations served as a personal manual on how to remain steadfast and upright, no matter how challenging the situation. These reflections also demonstrated a profound sense of duty. Marcus Aurelius saw himself as a servant of the empire and the common good. He viewed leadership as a sacred responsibility, where his own happiness or comfort was secondary to the welfare of the Roman people. His philosophy, therefore, was not just theoretical, it was directly translated into his actions and decisions, both on the battlefield and in governance. In the end, Marcus Aurelius' meditations stand as a testament to the internal struggle of a leader trying to reconcile the demands of power with the need to keep his soul at peace. Amidst the uncertainties and dangers of war, he found in philosophy an anchor, something that allowed him to maintain clarity of thought and determination to move forward, no matter how difficult the path. The battlefield as a stage for philosophy. For Marcus Aurelius, the battlefield was not just a place of violence and destruction. It was also an environment where his philosophical convictions were put to the test in the most intense way. War, with all its brutality, forced him to confront fundamental questions about the nature of existence, fate, and the role of human beings in the grand scheme of the universe. Thus, each battle became an opportunity to apply the Stoic principles he valued so highly. Stoic philosophy teaches acceptance of things we cannot change and focus on what is within our control, our actions and reactions. Amidst the chaos of combat, Marcus Aurelius strived to maintain this perspective. He believed that true wisdom lay in acting according to reason and virtue, even in situations where violence and chaos prevailed. This mindset allowed him to make tough decisions, like sacrificing troops in crucial battles, without losing sight of the greater good of the empire. Moreover, the battlefield was a place where the fragility of life became painfully evident. For Marcus Aurelius, death was not something to be feared, but rather a natural part of existence. He saw each soldier, including himself, as part of a larger cycle, where death was simply a transition to another form of existence. This acceptance of mortality allowed him to lead with a calm that inspired his men, even in the most desperate situations. Marcus Aurelius also viewed suffering and adversity as opportunities for personal growth. In the heat of battle, when the fate of the empire was at stake, he reminded himself that the true test of a man was his ability to maintain dignity and honor, regardless of external circumstances. This stoic focus on self-control and resilience helped him face difficulties with a clear mind and unwavering determination. The philosopher-emperor also used the battlefield as a place to practice compassion. He believed that even amid war, it was possible to retain humanity and empathy for others. This was reflected in his decisions to spare captured enemies and treat conquered peoples with fairness. For Marcus Aurelius, true victory was not just about defeating the enemy, but doing so in a way that preserved his own moral integrity. In the end, the battlefield, with all its trials, was for Marcus Aurelius a constant reminder of the impermanence of all things. He knew that, no matter how hard he fought to preserve the empire, everything was subject to the laws of time and change. This philosophical insight helped him lead with deep wisdom, understanding that ultimately, a leader's true legacy was not in military victories, but in how they lived and governed. The duality of Marcus Aurelius, warrior and philosopher. Marcus Aurelius was a singular figure in history, known for his ability to balance two seemingly contradictory identities, that of a relentless military commander and a profound, contemplative thinker. This duality is what makes Marcus Aurelius not only a great emperor, but also a timeless figure whose reflections continue to inspire to this day. As a warrior, Marcus Aurelius was constantly engaged in military campaigns that required quick and often brutal decisions. The Marcomannic Wars were an extreme test of his leadership ability, where each battle could mean the difference between the survival and destruction of the Roman Empire. He led with unwavering determination, always focused on protecting Rome's borders and ensuring internal stability. even in the face of fierce and unpredictable enemies. On the other hand, as a philosopher, Marcus Aurelius was a deeply introspective man who dedicated time to contemplation and writing, even amidst military campaigns. His meditations reflect his relentless pursuit of wisdom and understanding of the universe. He saw himself not only as a leader of men, but as a student of life, constantly questioning and reflecting on the purpose of existence, duty, and morality. This combination of military and philosophical skills created a leader who was both feared and respected. While his battlefield decisions were firm and strategic, his governance was guided by a sense of justice and duty, shaped by his Stoic principles. Marcus Aurelius believed that to be a good leader, it was essential to master not only the arts of war, but also the arts of the mind and spirit. This duality also manifested in how he viewed power. Unlike many leaders of his time who sought power for its own sake, Marcus Aurelius saw power as a tool to serve the common good. He ruled with an uncommon humility for an emperor, always aware of his own mortality and the limitations of human power. This philosophical outlook kept him grounded, even when external pressures seemed overwhelming. In the end, Marcus Aurelius's duality, as both warrior and philosopher, is what defines his legacy. He managed to harmonize two worlds that, at first glance, seem incompatible, that of action and contemplation. This synthesis is what made Marcus Aurelius one of history's most admired leaders, a man who was able to lead with both strength and wisdom, leaving a lasting example of how the mind and the sword can indeed coexist.